It's written all over the world that retired General Chiwenga seems to be closing in on Emerson Mnangagwa so faster than anticipated. And I think he may strike without anyone realizing, and it is getting soon. What may make it quick? It is because of the current political developments. He would find himself in a scenario like what in 2017, where the circumstances, none other than anything, demanded him to act as swiftly as possible. And if he did not act as swiftly as possible, Robert Gabriel Mugabe was going to close in for him, and definitely him and other military generals at that time, they could have been wiped out. But was it a good choice to bring in Emerson Mnangagwa? I think this has shown beyond reasonable doubt that it was a serious miscalculation. Greetings and welcome on your lovely channel, the Hlonipani Global News. If you're watching us for the very first time, please do remember to press the red or black subscribe button so that next time when we beam live, you become the very first one to watch us. It's written all over the world that retired General Chiwenga faction is closing in on Emerson Mnangagwa, and I will be actually explaining why I think so. I think, and also it's written all over the world that Blessed Geza is indeed fighting from his grave. Now, caption this. There is a case for the war veterans. That case for the war veterans, it seeks to actually declare Emerson Mnangagwa as a constitutional delinquent. It was launched, in fact, the application was done the very same day Blessed Geza was being laid rest by the war veterans. Now, I've always explained that if you hear war veterans standing up against any president, understood that there is a linkage between the war veterans as well as also the military. And I'm sure Emerson Mnangagwa and his faction, they understand that the case of war veterans has the backup of the military. If the war veterans are tired of a president historically in Zimbabwe, it simply means that also the military may be equally tired of that particular president. And by the way, most of the war veterans are earning very, very little money. That is 150 US dollars. They have actually revealed that. Do you think they are funding their own case? And also they are paying Professor Damo on their own, whether he's doing it solo. Did they actually on their own lure him to represent him? I don't think so. And this is the reason why Emerson Mnangagwa is deciding to intimidate Professor Damo. And I strongly believe Professor Damo played a very, very fundamental role when actually approached by the war veterans. He may have demonstrated on how they can actually get him. If you look at the application that is done by the war veterans, simply say Emerson Mnangagwa's first cabinet meeting that gave a green light to 2030 term extension was an illegal process. And if they are proven right, then the Constitutional Court will easily declare Emerson Mnangagwa as a constitutional delinquent. Not only, let's put the case aside, also how many intelligence reports have leaked especially since the first cabinet. Remember, when there was the first cabinet, there was an intelligence report that was leaked, and that intelligence report is definitely from the military. Of course, it doesn't have the names, but it is from the military. It was written by the military, submitted to Emerson Mnangagwa to warn him that it will be a red line to allow constitutional amendment, Bill number 3 of 2026. By the way, initially it was of 2025. They wanted to pass it. They wanted this bill to be given a green light by the cabinet just before the Christmas, so that it could be a Christmas present, especially for those supporting Emerson Mnangagwa within ZANU-PF. But because Chiwenga is also fighting behind the scenes, and obviously some of the fights they are leaked. Some of these fights they are not leaked. Like, we don't know what transpired to the previous cabinet meetings, as well as also the previous Politburo. It hasn't been actually exposed what exactly transpired. Now, if you looked at that intelligence report, it was it didn't look like a normal intelligence report, because an intelligence report is supposed to advise the president. It's supposed to be written in a polite language. That one was not written in a polite language. It was accusing Emerson Mnangagwa and also warning him and putting the red lines not to be crossed. He crossed those red lines. And now, also, Mnangagwa realizing that Professor Damo case backing up war veterans, that case in itself is political in nature. It's a trap for Emerson Mnangagwa, as well as his capture of the judiciary system of Zimbabwe. And what also something that is happening that I'm sure Mnangagwa is privy to is the opposition for the very first time uniting with the war veterans. For example, the CDF of Tendai Biti, he actually indicated that it was largely backed by the war veterans. Now, I've explained that when you see war veterans in Zimbabwe, they are part of JOKU. They are part, institutions that are part of JOKU in Zimbabwe. It's war veterans, it's the Zimbabwe Republic Police, the military, the CIO, as well as also the war veterans themselves, and the judiciary. These institutions, they are part of the JOKU. Caption this: one of the elements of the JOKU is actually against amendment number 3 of 2026. And also that element of the JOKU, you cannot in Zimbabwe be a war veteran without actually being a military person. So any war veteran in Zimbabwe has a military background, and the generals, when they retire, definitely they are as good as war veterans. So underestimate these people at your own peril. And the latest intelligence, which was produced so swiftly yesterday, the incident happened yesterday. Was it a day before yesterday? They quickly moved so swift and compiled an intelligence report indicating who are the parties that were responsible for assaulting Professor Damo Mnangagwa, revealing their names, revealing also the brains behind the violence that we are seeing orchestrated towards Professor Damo Mnangagwa. Guess what? Also, barely before even 24 hours could lapse, we've seen the same group that was warned through an intelligence report rising up again, escalating. Now going to the offices of Professor Damo Mnangagwa, writing that this time around we will kill you. Now, what is the meaning of this? We are in a scenario whereby the faction of Chiwenga is making a move, and the faction of Emerson Mnangagwa is making a move. It shall come to, and also the fact, if you read these intelligence reports that are on the public domain, you can tell that the faction of retired General Chiwenga is actually has connections within the military and serious connections within the Zimbabwe Defense Forces. And now these connections, they are well up to date in terms of what is being done by the faction of Emerson Mnangagwa. And I mean, they are well up to date. It doesn't have to take them weeks to know what the other side is doing, which means also, like what I have said days ago, that the people who are during the daylight seemingly supporting Emerson Mnangagwa, there is high probability that these people at night, they are not supporting Emerson Mnangagwa. They are the very same people who actually feed the information to the other side. We have seen top secrets of Emerson Mnangagwa being leaked. The other side is aware of the fact that Professor Jonathan Moyo was in Zimbabwe. It was meant to be a top secret. They are aware that Ziambi recently went to Kenya to meet Professor Jonathan Moyo. And also, I think on the side of Professor Jonathan Moyo, he is actually experimenting as an academic. I mean, academic people do experiment, but one thing that he cannot experiment with is his life. That is why he has not actually accepted the temptation to be lured back to Zimbabwe, because he understands that Zimbabwe is a ticking time bomb. He seems to have reconciled with Mnangagwa. Mnangagwa wants him in Zimbabwe, as well as the allies of Mnangagwa. Zwikanandas wants him in Zimbabwe, because they believe that the role he is currently playing is giving them a strategic advantage over retired General Chiwenga. But Professor Jonathan Moyo, understanding the risk and also the possibility that Mnangagwa may not make it, he cannot be lured to Zimbabwe. He was promised heaven and earth, I mean the car of his choice by Wicknell Chivayo, and monies and a good life, protection and everything. But understand that that protection may not last for the longest period of time. I strongly believe, also to see that as much as people, I know a lot of people say Chiwenga is acting slowly, Mnangagwa may actually easily take care of him. But I don't think so. And also, Mnangagwa is acting slowly. They don't also see that Mnangagwa is equally acting slowly. We heard since last year that there was a plot to fire retired General Chiwenga. Why that plot has not been initiated? And also to fire the allies of retired General Chiwenga. Why is Mnangagwa equally slow to do so? And even for him to actually give a green light through the cabinet for this bill to lie in state, it took him several months. Just imagine, it's been almost, we are going to 3 years. ZANU-PF members trekking, always saying slogans about this 2030 term extension. I believe he's acting slow like a tortoise, because he understands what is at stake, and he understands that he is actually, risking, and it's not worthy risking. And also interventions such as actually taking state power from a sitting president. It's not just a walk in the park. A lot of planning has to be done. There are so many risks associated with it. And carrying that out it requires one to be sober. It requires one not to be emotional. It requires one not to be actually pressured, but to think through each and every strategy. Most probably go back again on the drawing board to make sure that when you unleash the strategy, it most probably becomes successful. And I know a lot of people are under pressure, losing, hope, because they want Emerson Mnangagwa gone as in yesterday. Just imagine an individual like Blessed Keze. He wanted also to see the back of Mnangagwa whilst he was alive, but he acknowledged that definitely Mnangagwa will go, and he acknowledged that he may not see him going, but he left a message that he will eventually go, and also vowing to fight from his grave. When he was saying those words, he spoke those words out of knowledge. Definitely behind the scenes, it is known he is going. It's just a matter of time. Thank you very much for watching us. If you're watching us for the very first time, please do remember to press the red or black subscribe button so that next time when we beam live, you become the very first one to watch us. You can financially support this channel by pressing the join button and be part of our members who are the heartbeat of this channel. You can equally do so by pressing the thanks button and send us stars. Is signing off. Good night. Let's meet on the other side of the live broadcast.